is under attack. The United States is shifting faster than anyone realized, and our children are under attack and being groomed in very subtle ways. I want to go over some of these big topics. To help me do that, I have John Amanchukwu with me. Thank you, John, so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for bringing me on your worldwide and international show, one of the best out there. So thank you so much. Hey, tune in to Stephen Gardner. He's the man.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Just for some background, John is a pastor, writer, author, defender of children and the family. He's been traveling the country, 13 different states, helping school boards understand that they have garbage in their libraries, defending the family, defending children. And that's why I wanted to have you on. So thank you for everything that you're doing. The first question I wanted to ask you is, the first time I saw you, some friends had forwarded me a TikTok of this man just boldly telling a school board that the school library was full of pornography and inappropriate books for children, pushing sexual topics on elementary age kids, junior high age kids. The video went viral. Tell me about why you started going to these school boards and what effect it has had on the country.
Well, 2 years ago, I received notification that a young girl in Chatham County, it was a white girl, was in class and her teacher berated her and demeaned her faith and told her that believing in Jesus was like believing in a brick wall. And so at that time, they were trying to get pastors to come out and to speak in her defense. And so someone told me about it. And I made my way to Chatham County, which is about 45 minutes from where I live. I went there and addressed the school board meeting there, and that message went viral. And from there, parents started reaching out to me from all over the country. And I've now been to 13 states speaking out in defense of children. And I've been able to also amass 300 million views on all social media platforms. I've been able to strike down a transgender policy, policy 5756 in New Jersey. I've been able to remove pornographic books all around the country. We've been able to also flip 2 school boards, one in Pennsylvania and one in New Jersey. So I've been quite the busy man defending and protecting children all around the United States of America.
Oh, well, I appreciate everything that you're doing. Most children, number one, they shouldn't have their faith attacked by an authority figure, and they don't know to say, "Oh, Jesus is like a brick wall." You mean stable, dependable, but for them, if somebody was talking to my child like that, I'd say, "Okay, listen, I get you don't want religion or prayer in school, but don't talk to my child about deeply held religious beliefs, and don't be pushing ideas on them that their minds aren't capable of understanding." Now, one of the things that I noticed about that speech was you were wearing a hoodie that had "God is greater than Gov." And
Yes.
I love that. Hopefully you guys are selling that, because I think that's something that would definitely do very well.
Yes, we are.
What on the flip side, you talked about the positive that's come out of that. What has been some of the negative feedback or the pushback that you've received as you've traveled the country?
Well, I've now been kicked out of 5 school board meetings. I was walked out of a school board meeting in Texas, in Midland, Texas. I read from a book entitled Push. The author is Ramona Lofton, and this book discusses a incestuous relationship that a mother and a father had with their daughter. The father impregnates the daughter twice. And the book is very vulgar, it's pervasively vulgar. It should not be allowed to children. And the book is also rated adult. And the last time I checked, a 14-year-old child is not an adult, right? The human brain doesn't even develop until 25. And so we all know, if you're a parent, I have 3 children. One's 14, one is 13, and one is 7. And I know that my teenagers are not adults. And so reading from that book there, at the end of my message, I challenged the school board and I told the 6 men who were on the school board, I said, listen, if you keep this book in the school system, you're either a punk or a pervert. And the moment I said that, cops rushed in, 6 cops surrounded me and they walked me out of the school board meeting. And I kept saying it, listen, if you don't remove this book, you're either a punk or a pervert. There are 3 categories, Stephen, that we must keep in mind when we approach the indoctrination of our children in the public school system. You're either a punk, a pervert, or a protector. That's it. There are only 3 categories. Choose one. If you want to be a punk, all right, then we're going to call you out. If you want to be a pervert, we're going to call you out. If you want to be a protector, we will celebrate you. And so I delivered that message there. They kicked me out of the school board meeting. I went to the Indian River School Board meeting in Vero Beach, Florida, and they kicked me out of that school board meeting as well. 3 sheriffs told me, that I could no longer be in the school board meeting because the board chairman became angered because I read from a pornographic book. And I go to these school board meetings, open up the material and the books that they give to the kids and read it, and the snowflake board members get angry. They censor me. They cut my microphone off. I was recently in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, reading from a book there that the school board had reviewed and said that it was educational. But when I read from that book, they censored me online because of FCC standards and told me that I could not read from that book. They cut my microphone off. And so what we're seeing across the country is a gross amount of hypocrisy. The perverts and the punks want to indoctrinate our children, but when the protectors show up, they get angry and even use law enforcement against them.
Wow. So, they're putting out this darkness, hoping it stays in the dark, but as soon as you
Yes.
cast a little bit of sunshine on it, they shrivel, and then now they start using the police against you. It's interesting because these books are from their library, not your library.
That's right.
They've approved this book that teaches how to do certain acts on your partner, how to give into your same-sex attraction. It's like
Yes.
you can't join the military, you can't vote, you can't drink, you can't rent a car, but you can somehow determine your gender by age 7. Your curiosity and imagination are to be accepted as truth.
Right.
It's sad that more parents aren't saying, wait a minute, let's let children just go through the natural curiosities of being a child, but let's
Right.
certainly not fuel them with adult content. Like there's
Right.
a reason that movies had to start being rated G, PG, PG-13, R, NC-17. So you're
That's
telling
right.
me that a child who should go to a G or a PG movie can suddenly take on NC-17 material in the form of a color book because it's in their library.
Yes. It makes no sense, Stephen. I mean, I'm holding up a book here for you. It's called Queer, okay? The Ultimate LGBTQ Guide for Teens. You can tell from the cover of this book what this book is about and that it's inappropriate. Why do kids have to go to school to learn how to be a faithful queer student? What is the educational benefit out of teaching children how to practice sexually deviant behavior? There is no benefit from that. And so when you open this book, you'll see you have 2 women in the bed together. They're promoting that to teenagers. And when you read some of this content, it talks about the rectum having a lot of bacteria in it. And when it's spread, it can cause lots of problems. This is page 166 of this book. Then it also talks about the proper way of cleaning dildos. It tells the kids to put it in the dishwasher. Yes, The dishwasher. And then it tells you just boil it for 5 minutes or run it through the dishwasher and make sure it cools off before you use it again. Stephen, these people are sick.
And this is junior high libraries?
Yes, this is for high school students.
Okay.
For
Wow.
high school students. And let me ask you this question. How is this going to help a student on the SAT test score? It's not. How is this going to help them get into an Ivy League school, which, you know, you better pray before you go anyway? How is this going to help a student get into college? Or how is this going to help a student in America compete in a global market? How is it going to help? It's not. This is perversion. You know, I also call this kind of content mental rape because it assaults the soul, it stains the brain, and it robs children of their innocence. This is just one book, and it goes on and on. And here's another one: The Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationships, uh, um, uh, and Being a Human. It says, "Let's Talk About It" by Erica Moen and Matthew Nolan. I mean, this book. I mean, uh, if I open it, you'll see sexual body parts erect, and you'll see butt plugs and things of that nature. And here's one of the biggest clinchers of this particular book. Let's talk about it. On the front cover, the author gives a disclaimer. It says, the authors and publisher expressly disclaim responsibility for any adverse effects that may result from the use or application of the information contained in this book. Who writes a book and then tells you you might harm yourself if you use my content?
Yeah.
Or the recommendations that I give you. I mean, you know that it's trash. This is trash. This is trash, man. Here's another one. All Boys Aren't Blue. You know, it glorifies the sex lifestyle of a young man that is queer. This is trash. Here's another one. This book is for elementary students. It's entitled "I Am Jazz." It's a young boy who thinks that he is a girl. And therefore he wants to be called Jazz, and the parents play along in the big lie. This is the kind of filth that our kids are met with around this country. And hear me, this kind of content is even in red states. I mentioned to you that I went to Texas and they kicked me out of a school board meeting. I went to Florida and they kicked me out of a school board meeting. I went to Alabama and the same kind of content is in their school libraries. And so we can't think that just because you live in a red state that these things aren't going on. No, the woke virus is everywhere and we need to kill it.
Yeah. A new study out, not here in America, because there's too much money in the medical system to let this slip out in America, but over in the United Kingdom, they found that 90% of people that believe they are transgender grow out of it. And
This
that
is
the
true.
yeah, and that the majority of them regret the medications and the surgeries that they get. So pretty wild. Let me skip to a different topic that I've been trying to figure out how to formulate this question. So maybe just let me throw it out there. I'm not a Democrat myself, but it feels like at times that abortion is somehow pitched as a whites only privilege kept from the black community. Like they pitch it like it's something involving race, or that it's natural that a mother would want to abort her offspring, but also like it's just held out of reach of oppressed communities, and only for white people. Does that make any sense, how they try to make a abortion, which is unnatural, also into a racism situation? Does that make any sense?
Well, in a sense, you know, when you consider the foundation of Planned Parenthood, the founder, Margaret Sanger, said in a letter in 1939 to Dr. Clarence C.J. Gamble that she did not want the word to get out that she wanted to exterminate the Negro population. And so from its infancy, Planned Parenthood was started to kill Black America, to annihilate it. And she was also against Jews. She was very anti-Semitic, and she was against parents who had children who had deformities or special needs. And so she believed that the next thing that a family should do, who already had a large family, was to kill their next baby. And so, yes, there is a great deal of racism that has been hid within the abortion industry and that movement. I say to people who are pro abortion that you are also pro racism if you support the abortion industry and that movement. You know, God is the one who grants and gives life. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 through 19, that there are seven things that God calls abominable, one of which is the shedding of innocent blood. And when we look at society today, we're knocking on the doors of another election. And one of the fundamental areas where there's a lot of debate right now is around the topic of abortion and people being pro-life and, being pro-life from the womb to the tomb. And they say that Republicans and conservatives only care about the baby being born, but they don't want to provide the necessities for the baby after that. All of that stuff. Hear me. Billions of dollars will be spent in this election to convince the American people that killing the most innocent amongst us should be acceptable. And because of that, our nation has become narcissistic, cold hearted, and cold blooded. You know, when you consider the fact that we have few school shootings in America, I'm not surprised that we have more. When you consider the callousness of one's heart to convince the American people that killing babies is acceptable, you would think that, hey, if a child is not sacred in the womb, then why would children be sacred in the classroom?
Hmm, interesting. I know Dennis Prager goes around the country and he asks people at university age, if you walked up on a stranger and a dog drowning, which one would
Mm,
you save? And over 60% say that they would save the dog, not the human. And so he says, that this shift of not really valuing life has been
yes.
really interesting over his 70 years of being alive. And that's just really sad to me. I mean, would you agree that the far left seems to hate the family, and so
Mm.
or they put great emphasis on destroying or distorting or manipulating the family?
Yes, I would agree with that. I believe that there is a rat that dominates the left. A RAT is an acronym that I came up with. It stands for race, abortion, and transgenderism. Okay. We need to kill this rat. The issue of race is this, that we are all made in the imago Dei, the image of God, right? And so through the social architecture of conjuring up racism and racist talking points and race baiting and race hustling, the intent is to turn blacks against whites and vice versa, therefore making us hate the very image of God. And then you have abortion, right? The left loves abortion, okay? The currency of the left is the blood of babies. Okay, they love abortion. They'll do anything possible to keep the sacred cow of abortion protected, which also destroys the image of God because we are made in the image of God. Babies are made in the image of God. And then you have transgenderism. And this is another attack on life because at the end of the day, the only way for homosexuality to exist is that it requires heterosexuality. Two men and two women coming together will never procreate. But it's only when you do it God's way that you get life. And so transgenderism and the LGBTQ movement is an anti-life movement. It is. It's not a lifestyle, it's a death style because one cannot procreate. So, from race to hating the image of God, to abortion, to killing the image of God, through transgenderism, to no longer embracing the order of God, yes, one can say that the left hates life.
Yeah. It's interesting because they're very comfortable. Like, for example, Democrats are very comfortable having an abortion of a baby, but then in
Mm.
order to keep their votes up, they need to convert Republican children over to their side at some point. How do they do that? It's usually through the school system, right? Where 90% of all money from the Democrat or from the school system goes to Democrats. And so
Yes.
it's this broken system of, hey, look, we got you more money. Oh, now you give it back to us. Hey, look, we got you more money. And so it's like, hey, we'll just get them in school when we've got them for 8 hours a day for the next 20 years. And that's why I want parents to be conscious of the fact that your child is with somebody who may have a completely different ideology, way of thinking, belief set than what you are trying to instill in the home, and yet they're with them more hours of the week than you are with your own children. What
That's good. That's a great point that you just made, Stephen. You know, and within that, also, the left has created a new way to repopulate America, and that's to keep the border open. Okay, let's recruit the conservative and Republican children to become Democrats, but let's leave the border open so that since 2020, 10 million criminal illegal aliens have come into our country. I don't call them asylum seekers. I don't call them newcomers. We put all of these sake, all of these sexy, fake terms uh, around these topics. No, they are criminal illegal aliens. If you come into a country illegally, you are a criminal illegal alien. And what they're doing now is using that to replace even the Black community, right? I've seen this for a long time, that Blacks are being replaced at the border. And that's why I tell Black America, you have to open up your eyes and see what's going on. They put the abortion clinics in economically disadvantaged communities. Nearly 70 to 80% of abortuaries are in brown and Black communities. Well, at the same time, they keep the border open to replace you. So they tell you to kill your baby, and then you go down every 2 to 4 years and you support the same people who want to annihilate you. It's asinine. It's crazy. I say to Black Americans, you have to wake up and smell the coffee and see that we are being destroyed from within, and we are paying the hitman to kill us. And we're in the party, by and large, that hates us the most. It makes no sense.
Yeah. I'm speaking later this week with a woman who's an eighth generation American. She's a foundational Black American. Her family lived through slavery. Her grandparents picked cotton. They moved to Chicago. They were able to buy a home for this family that's now multi-generational. And she said, I'm watching Brandon Johnson try to replace us, replace
Yes.
all the people that are in the same circumstances, all these beautiful Black families with illegal immigrants. I mean, they're giving $100 million to illegal immigrants. Why not give that to the community that already exists?
That's right. And what's happening in Chicago, people are beginning to see, hold up, man, we are being taken for granted. And that's why there's a revolution that is coming. In 2020, President Trump received nearly 8% of the Black vote. The trend today in 2024 is around 24% of Black Americans are saying, you know what, I've had enough with the Democrat plantation, and I'm going in the opposite direction.
Wow.
And that's good. That's a good trend.
Wow. That's a big change in just 3 years. Um, Tell me, you've got a book coming out that looks really, really interesting. Hoodwinked.
Mhm.
That's such a great title. I love that. Oh, they hoodwinked me. Tell me, what is this book about? What are we going to learn from reading it?
So hoodwinked is a antiquated term. It's an old fogey term, if you will. But it meant to be beyond blindfolded to the point that you could not see through any speck of fabric, right? And that's where Americans are today. We have a bag over our head and we can't see the forest for the trees. We've been bamboozled, we've been duped. We've welcomed the lies as well, but most of all, we've been hoodwinked. And because of this, there are 10 lies that Americans believe. Number one, Americans believe that America is a racist nation. Now, according to the Pew Research Center, as of 2019, 1 in 10 Black Americans, about 4.6 million people, were immigrants, meaning they were born in another country. And by 2060, this number will increase to 9.5 million people. So if America is such a racist nation, why are Black and brown people risking their lives to get into this country? And the answer is simple: because of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. America is not a perfect nation and or a perfect country, but it is the greatest nation on the face of this planet. And Black and brown people do better here than in any country or continent in the world. Also, America had its first Black president, Barack Hussein Obama. And if America is such a racist nation, how did a Black man win the highest seat of authority in this country? And one of the things you also see, Stephen, within this dynamic of America being called a racist nation, that oftentimes it depends on what political party you're in. If you're on the left and you're taught to be a victim, right? Yeah, you see America as a racist nation because of your own failures, shortcomings, and laziness. But if you're on the other side that believes in the free market and capitalism and a man working with his own hands and not being dependent upon the government, then you have a different mindset and an outlook on this country. This book also deals with several lies like disagreement equals hate. Today, people believe that if you disagree with a person, then you automatically hate them. No, I just disagree. And isn't that what diversity is supposed to be about anyway? Diversity of thought, not just pigmentation. Can we not disagree but still love each other and go eat chicken wings at the end of the day? Can we not do that? And then it also deals with the big lie of the Bible isn't political and the church is non-essential. Also address the big lie that debt can be canceled and capitalism should be blamed for poverty. So there's several lies in this book that are dominating the culture. And if you're looking for a tool that's biblically integrated and factual to address many of the lies of today, you need to go and get a copy of Hoodwinked now.
Okay. I will put a link down below so that people can go check that out. If people want to follow you online, John, what is the best way for them to do that? I'll also put that down below.
First and foremost, go to iknowgod.us and you'll see everything there on how you can follow me. But I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, I'm on YouTube. All right. I'm on YouTube at REVWU Truth. That's Rev Woo Truth. REVWU Truth. Follow me. I don't have as many followers as Steven. I'm not famous like him yet, but one of these days I'm going to get there. So follow me at Revel Truth.
Okay, I will put all of that down below. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for this great conversation, for your courage, everything you're doing. I would just encourage you to keep going. Families and children depend on bold, courageous people like you. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
God bless you. Thank you.